Here we are together again on the radio, live tonight. American Zombie, we are talking about propaganda. When we see all the stuff that's going on in the news, it's kind of like that thing that happened with Osama bin Laden, right? The Navy, the helicopters, they get them, they tell you this big story, and then they don't have nothing to show for proof. I really wonder about this stuff. I mean, what was it, Shakespeare? All the world is a stage, you know? Like, say what's up to everybody. Got the link pinned to the top of the chat. Might have a few people coming on tonight. Keep it kind of cordial, talking about the Iran type of controversy that's going on. I think there was something saying that some people are saying they found the body. Some people said they didn't. Kind of like when they found that passport during 9/11, right? Like out of all of that, and the newscast is like, well, they found a passport, and guess what? It's from one of the actual people, right? If you can believe that. And then that guy ends up, you know, mysterious circumstances, 6 months later. I'm just like, what? Nobody, you know, he should have thought to himself, like, yeah, if you can believe that. It's like everybody watching those news programs believes what these guys are saying. I mean, you got people that have no confirmation. There's no way for them to know. But again, that is the NPC zombie, the American zombie that runs around telling propaganda. I could just see people with the hatred or the red hat, saying, just split the word and throw the three words in the front from the back. The hatred, right? When I saw the thumbnails, I said, man, you probably got people that are just so Trumpified that they are jumping up and down saying, look, he got the bad guy. Any reason to cheerlead, any reason to be a cheerleader. And we don't even know if anything happened. See, that's the thing. It's not just as much as being a barbaric, uncivilized monster that celebrates the death of other people instead of being a civilized human being and not celebrating that. But again, we live in a psychiatric hospital called Planet Earth, basically. It is truly a type of asylum, man. It is truly a type of a mental asylum to see how people are just going all ape crap over this stuff. Meanwhile, again, it's like, are we even receiving information that's accurate? Nobody thinks about, hey, those tax dollars, right? It's like they can take your money and spend it on whatever they want, but we're free. Hey, you know what? Repeat after me, right? Alexis June, my brother, thank you for the support, bro. I appreciate it, man. Says, what's going on? Yeah, man. We already know that there is massive amounts of propaganda. That's why I titled the stream, Are We Listening to Propaganda? I mean, when you look at the Iran guy, right, the Ayatollah, control many, like the Ayatollah Khomeini, and he is, I mean, I thought it was just some like old white dude or something. And I'm saying, who is that with like some type of, I don't know what that is on his head. I mean, these dudes, the get-ups from this stuff is straight out of Star Wars, man. When you look at some of these religious get-ups, I mean, I was in Manhattan one time, and the Hebrew Israelites, I guess, were there barking at people on 47th and 7th Avenue. And I didn't know. I said, were they remaking Star Trek or something? They had on these robes and had staffs and all of that. I didn't know if Earth, Wind, and Fire were throwing a concert. But then I realized when they started yelling at people and reading scriptures from a book, I was like, all right, I've seen these guys around. And that's just one of the religious factions. I mean, you got people, chickens, killing chicken. What do they got against chickens, man? Chickens are like a cool animal. Little chicken, buck, 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 They over here killing chickens, man, for no reason, trying to do bad things to chickens. I don't know what it is, man. And every religion's got something. Every religion's got something, man. I wonder, man. I really do. This whole when I saw that, that's the first thing that came to mind. It was like, oh, they got Iranian guy, and I said, man, these guys must be jumping up. I'm surprised they didn't have like a NASCAR event for this thing. It just, because I thought about it, I was like, man, the level. Is there any intelligence left? Like, it is like. What is going on? Exactly. Like Alexis Jun says, you are absolutely right, man. What is going on? What is going on? Nobody seems to care about anything that really matters. Things are meaningless. And they're meaningless. Uh, I wonder. I really wonder, man. I really wonder. The propaganda, right? What is propaganda, right? Television propaganda. Social engineering, man. Social engineering, wartime propaganda. TV's used just on such a high level to boost patriotism and dehumanize enemies. Remember, this is a two-sided coin. On one side, patriotism. The other side, dehumanize enemies. Justify aggression, and portray the opposing nations as barbaric, And some of these nations, they do act barbaric, just like ours. We think, oh, well, we're a technological barbaric nation because we got technology, man. Hey, over in, how you see people over here criticizing, other countries for being polluted in their rivers. I spoke about the Hudson River and how the sewage overflows and people, that's going into water filtration plants can only take out so much. But the average American, we already know the intelligence factor just ain't there. Kind of disappeared. Maybe it never was there to begin with. But government campaigns, when we look at the government campaigns that go on to push the thought, it really makes you wonder how powerful our thoughts probably are because somebody's always trying to control it. You think, wait, why is somebody always trying to distract me? The enemy does not need to defeat you. The enemy only needs to distract you. And distract you long enough to accomplish its goal, that getting something done, and then that's it. Sort of like distracting people to put in an electronic grid. Fear and distraction. And then it gets to a point, next thing you know, bang, right back in the Matrix pod. Right back in the Matrix pod. That's what it seems like. Now, this Ayatollah guy, who they're saying that, they got him, right? Again, they got him. They got the bad guy, right? Meanwhile, they're the bad guy too. Two bad guys fighting. That's what I see. One guy that took tax money from taxpayers to go fight another bad guy, or to probably steal some of that money and say they're fighting the bad guy. And guess what? They got him, guys. And it's so funny because they come out with the racist stuff, right? When you look at the thumbnail of this basically, I thought it was an old white guy with a turban or so. I said, what is that? What is like I don't know, some type of, it's kind of odd. It's kind of odd, but hey, it is what it is. And I'm very surprised. That people aren't calling out the fact that they boasted how Trump said he was going to end wars, but it seems like he's starting one. What nobody thinks, think about this. For the people in government that don't ever have to be in the military service, because every single one of them have been shown in some way or another to be cowards, falsifying their military service. I mean, nobody's going in as an enlisted man and really, really have become a war hero. We saw what happened to Pat Tillman, We pay taxes for Middle Eastern wars. Yes, man. You're absolutely right, Alexis. We pay taxes. Matter of fact, we don't even pay taxes, bro. They take taxes. They take taxes from us to fund basic terrorism on Venezuela, in my opinion, when you look at that. When you look at what's going on Ukraine, the funding of that. I mean, you got people to think that you got people that will be needing food, but yet they'll say, you know what, we need to give money to Argentina because they got to get their stuff together. But what about the people over here? And once again, Flint, Michigan, we already know where that's at. That's not even a thought. They're basically like saying, look, say what you want, but just, we ain't going to do nothing about Flint, Michigan. The techniques, the tactics, they they create that us versus them mentality using emotional manipulation, right? And it generates a desired response. We see that generating desired response. Hey, that's, what were they calling these people? Like names, like, I don't even want to say it, but back with 2001, I used to see that coming around, and I said, man, this is why I tell people never ever trust a celebrity, never trust a politician, a musician. All of them are working together. They're all employed by the same faction, and that faction has us as the lower class. Even people that are middle class, right? And they thought that they were out of it. It's funny seeing them sliding back down the hill. I think it's hilarious because they never gave a care about the people anyway. So now that they're sliding back down to us, hey, great, welcome home, right? It's like MAGA Mike says, I voted for no new wars, not this. Yeah, I hear you, MAGA Mike. I totally hear you. I don't want another Middle Eastern war. Thank you, bro. Thank you for saying that, man. I really appreciate that, man. I mean, you know what it shows, MAGA Mike? Like I had said it on the other show, does MAGA start for Make America Go to War Again? That's what it stands for right now. MAGA stands for that. And who was it? Andrew Schultz tried to say that he didn't vote for this. Well, let me wake you up on something, and I know this is hard. You didn't vote. Your vote does not matter, in my opinion. I mean, do you really think that they're going to care about what the common person thinks? But I'm very glad to hear that you're not on that side. This could snap you out of it. This could snap you out of the support to say, look, man, this is you guys lied. That was the way they orchestrated that, the technique, right? The technique that they used. It really is ingenious. It really is ingenious. But now here we are in Iran. It's there. And I don't know what's going to happen at this point, because wasn't like Iran was like the last the last safe hold or whatever. It was nutcase central. Meanwhile, again, when I look around, I really wonder why. Why do people look at things and think that the government is actually going to tell them the truth? Just every time. And I think it has something to do with the way they broke our parents, or our parents just happened to be broken or allowed them to break them, whatever. But this goes on generationally, and they know this. They condition it and can almost predict the expected responses. Yeah, but are we listening to propaganda? That is the topic of the show. We're seeing that clearly. MAGA says Trump promised to release the files and arrest the people in them. Nothing got released, and not one arrest. Exactly. Thank you, MAGA. I'm so glad, man. You're seeing the truth. You're actually, MAGA Mike, it might even get to a point where you might just say, you know what? You don't want to be called MAGA Mike. Or maybe MAGA Mike, you could still be called that because you're thinking you want to make America great again, but it's not going to be with Trump. He's not going to do it. I don't think it was ever really at a point. Making it great again says a lot of really, like, it's like if somebody was going to make America great again, right? If somebody would say, well, when was America great again? I would say, well, if you want to make America great again, how about taking it back to 1900 when we didn't have to pay income tax, right? Before the invention of income tax. Something like, oh, so you're going to not take us back to 1900 with all of the discrimination and stuff like that, but say, oh, so you're going to make it great like when we didn't have to pay tax, like income tax? Is that how you're going to make it great again? No. It's going to have to be a lie. How could you expect something beside a lie? Hey, look at the immigrant. If it wasn't for immigrants, I said it before, Trump wouldn't have any wives. Trump would not have wives if it wasn't for immigrants. I mean, people, if you look at this 40 years ago, people would have probably looked at this as treason, having a president with a Russian wife. And that's all. What is it with these Russian these masculine looking chicks that Trump is marrying. And it's with the Russians. It's like, what, Americans, he can't find an American woman? Trump honestly might be an incel. Yeah, I said it. That's right. Trump cell, straight up Trump cell. It just, I mean, already the guy ain't in the best shape and, never been that way, even when he was younger. I mean, Marla Maples, look up Marla Maples. That looks like a German dude with long hair. And again, anything is a foreigner. It's like, what about what? So, it says without saying like, oh, so, okay, you don't like what? There's nothing in this country that you can find that you like, you're on that high of a level. When a guy has to go to the foreign stuff, you already know that, yeah, people fall in love, they go out there, but this ain't a case of that. This is a case of, you better find, nobody in America is going to put up with that crap. So he goes into somewhere where the women are desperate, basically. Desperate, Eastern European bloc, trying to act like he's the man. That alone I saw a long time ago. So you already see it's not a man there. It's just a male. These are adult males. None of these are men. These are childish monsters with weapons. In my opinion, this is what I see. I don't know if other people are seeing this. Childish monsters with weapons, dangerously immature. I mean, look, what was it? Dick Cheney, when they were out hunting and he shot the guy in the face and the guy apologized basically to Dick Cheney. And I'm like, holy smokes. It's kind of like Officer Hatem, that guy that got the channel. And he went overseas to the Middle East and got spit on or something. And he's like, hey, thank them for like only spitting on him once. I mean, you talk about walking on all fours. It's like Officer Hatem takes it to a next level. Shuck and Jive, the straight minstrel show. The minstrel show never stopped. Might have to just rename it the United States of Plantations, because I definitely feel like I'm on a plantation for a while now. So let's look up propaganda, as it says, advertorials, public service announcements, editorialized news segments. Remember, they would stop the news, breaking news, we're about to take more of your tax dollars. That's what we're going to do. If people are going to start seeing through the illusion, they'll start seeing it like that. Yeah, breaking news, and something overseas. Oh, breaking news, they're about to take your tax dollars. Guess what? And when you walk in the store, everybody's seeing their food and stuff is creeping. It's creeping upwards, man. I'm surprised that more people that supported this guy haven't pulled away and started just making videos. I think it hurts. It's kind of like realizing, that somebody got over on you. Kalala, what's up, man? He says, I imagine they will make huge profits on Monday. Yeah, man. This is like, I was speaking with Drew. He said, yeah, it seems like foreign aid is like a money laundering scheme, seems to be. Let me just see, checking the okay, so people ask, what is an example of propaganda, right? So we see this with news programs that influence mass audiences. I think they use the Zionist Journal newscast, which criticized capitalism, right? And then back then, the Communist Polish People's Republic, using emotive and loaded language. So name calling, glittering generalities, transfer, testimonial, many different ways. Like say 5 types, they say they have here. Okay, let's look at this. When you look at it, are bandwagon, 5 common types of propaganda are bandwagon. So you're looking at the bandwagon, appealing to desire to fit in. People want to jump on that bandwagon, man. Testimonial, using celebrities. This is why I said it a couple minutes ago. Never trust a celebrity, never trust a politician, never trust a musician. And I would go as far as to never trust anybody that trusts them, because they'll try to sign for them. They'll try to co-sign for them. And it's like, you can't co-sign for nobody but yourself. So this is where it says here, the testimonial type of propaganda using celebrity or expert endorsements. Yeah, yeah, they use that for evolution, man. What do they get? The cuddlessly non-threatening black dude, right? Cuddles, right? Teddy Ruxpin looked like, right? Come out there like, oh, evolution. And they had to put that. They gave you the Neapolitan ice cream, the strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla. You got Richard Dawkins, Michio Kaku, and Neil on deGrasse Tyson. You got all of them. Jim Carrey, new face. I mean, so we said the bandwagon, peeling for desire to fit in. The testimonial, a matter of fact, Robert De Niro, I think, gave a testimonial one when he came out bashing Trump, wearing the elevated platform shoes when he gave that speech in New York, trying to just say Trump was bad, even though he didn't say nothing about Kamala, as usual. Okay, so plain folks, they say, right? Presenting ideas as relatable to everyday people. And that's the thing where they say, hey, I'm going to play to the population and try to grease them up for it. So you have that's another type of one of the 5 types of propaganda here. And it name calling. So name calling, right? That's another one, using negative labels. We see that to discredit opponents, man. And glittering generalities, right? The glittering generality, employing vague emotional charged words like freedom or justice. I mean, how many times had we say that? I mean, when George Michael sang that song, Freedom, freedom, I thought he was talking about freedom from a woman or something like that. I don't think he was chanting like freedom, like USA type. Maybe he was, but justice, freedom or justice. You have the transfer type, right? Linking a concept to something respected, right? Card stacking, right? That's another one. Selectively presenting facts. So you stacking the cards and you're saying, hey, you know what? They did this, they did this, they did that. And that's the card stacking effect. Let me see so we'll go a little deeper. There's 12 common types. So we go deeper into other types of propaganda so people can learn how to identify this. Freedom to pay tax. Now, we had said it earlier. You don't pay tax, man. They take tax. So it's like freedom to let them take tax. I used to think about it as a kid, man. People used to try to tell me it, but I was just too stupid. And it's like, they were like, you never really own anything. People from other countries, when they hear about property tax, you can see the look on their face. The look on their face like, wow. That is something when I think about property tax, when I think about you get paid, you get taxed on it. You buy something from the store, they tax you on that. I mean, I'm surprised they ain't taxing people for taking a dump. And that, of course, too. It's just, yeah. But the name calling, using derogatory labels, is a form of propaganda to discredit an idea. To discredit an idea or a person, the un-American, right? Great. If I'm un-American, take a number and stand in line behind the other people that think the same thing. It's funny how you got these. You remember the Proud Boys? Proud Boys, right? Didn't they get banned or something like that? That dude with the glasses, Gavlin or something like that. The weird look, he had the mustache and stuff. Very odd character, straight incel. And then, how couldn't they have picked a more masculine name? The Proud Boys. That sounds like grape corn or something like that. Sounds like gray corn. Sounds like something Nick Fuentes would support. It's hilarious when they had that picture of him and Clavicular or whatever that guy staring at him. Staring at him in a way that no man should look at another man like that. No hetero man. Glittering generalities, right? Using vague positive words, again, like freedom and honor. Yeah. Let's talk about Pat Tillman with that, right? Freedom and honor, like Pat Tillman went to fight for, right? This is the thing. Pat Tillman, man, he went to fight for that. I wonder what happened to him. To evoke positive feelings without substance, of course, a positive feeling without substance. I wonder what his parents would say about that. The transfer, of course, associating a person or an idea with something respected, right? Like a flag. You know, Aaron Daddy Roy was right. Flags are used to shrink wrap the mind, and afterwards they use them as a funeral shroud. Tell you, I folded enough flags and lowered enough coffins. And every veteran that retired, I noticed they were under 60. I was like, man, this might not be a good idea to try to retire in this. So the transfer idea, right? Like a flag or a religious symbol. Yeah, that's a good, yeah. The religious symbol, yeah. Testimonial, the famous person respected to endorse, right? Not really respected, but the famous person that has brainwashed the followers into following anything they say. I mean, the fact that a red flag doesn't go up when a celebrity or somebody is trying to push something on their fans to get them to think a certain way, then you start to see what the whole celebrity position was about. It was never about making songs that could help ease your day. It was always about control. It was always about control, man. They don't like you, man. Well, you thought somebody liked you? Hey, you know, sometimes you got to break the news to people, man. Sometimes you got to break the two, you know, and this is where I tell people, look, man, so I'm the only one that can be an idiot, right? You can't be an idiot, right? Because the only way to go from not being an idiot is to understand that, yeah, man, I've done some real stupid stuff. And for some, if stupidity and ignorance aren't after you, they already got you. They already got you, man. So if you say, wait a minute, stupidity and ignorance, nah, that don't bother. Yeah, because that's what you are. You act in that manner. I have to realize that I battle that every single day. And once, and if I try to hold it off, then the zombies come. They're like, nah, man, you know, it's like, yo, why don't you want to hang out and do something dumb? Very hard. So testimonial, right? To endorse a product or a cause. Plain folks, that's the other one, the candidate idea for being a common person, right? The bandwagon, you know, everyone else is doing it. It's like, you know, hey, he's going to build a wall, man. Fear, you know, very, very ancient tactic, you know, the disaster will strike, you know, you better vote for him. Emotional appeal too. Emotional appeal is a big one because you got homeboy like identifying with other people. It's like, remember, you got a massive ignorant public. So that's why you're going to have ignorant people in that position and they can identify with that. It's like, oh, he's a total, like, oh, he doesn't care if he can look down and see his genitals. Well, neither can half of these guys that are disguising as men. They can't, they're males, like I said. It's like you look down. It's like, I think that's the point of like, hey, man, I might need to back off the cupcakes or something like that. But they identify with the president because they both got that in common. I mean, it's funny because the last two presidents, Biden, I think Obama, I don't know if Obama jogged, but you ain't seeing the presidents jog with Biden and Trump. The president used to actually be in a little bit of physical shape to where he can go on a short run. Now that's just out the window. Who cares? Who cares, man? It's all about tax, all right? So the fear, you know, the emotional appeals, you know, charged words, again, cute animals, patriotic music. And all of this is to manipulate the feelings. Yeah, I'm a little tired tonight. That's why I streamed early. I was going to stream at 11, then I backed it up to 10 because I said, I don't know how long I'm going to stay on. A little, you know, it's Saturday. It's tough just doing this, but I've been working, just brainstorming on the book for a couple hours. And, you know, this will probably be the last political stream. Working on the trailer for the Kickstarter for the documentary. So maybe that'll be out hopefully within a few days have that ready. So card stacking, these are some of the forms of propaganda that we can't trust nobody, Mike. We cannot trust Democrats, Republicans, or independents, brother. Brother, we are in this together with the common people, and anybody you already see. Like, look at the Democrats. The Democrats, you can't trust it. That person is in a state of mind control. And thank you for asking that, bro. I really, it's so true. The Republicans, see, you're seeing now, you're waking up. Because if you look at other supporters that supported Trump that are still supporting him, now you're backing away, realizing like, whoa, you were in a cult. A cult. Trump is a cult. I mean, look, the three sons, the daughter, Ivanka. Remember when he said he would date his daughter? I think she was what, 16 or something, or 18? And he was like, oh, if she wasn't his daughter, he'd date her. You know, so remember, that stuff is always front and center, man. I'm surprised nobody called that out. You know, I'm surprised. And you know, she's had like facial surgery and stuff. Anybody can look it up online. So she was definitely inside, you know, there's some inner hate there. Because if you don't need the surgery and you have it, yeah, there's some inner hate going on there. But I'll go through the first couple of types out of these 12 types that I was just talking about. I didn't mention all 12, you know, Kalala, just vote, bro. You know, 12 types, propaganda, name calling, glittering generalities, the transfer effect, the testimonials, plain folks, you know, also, you know, plain folks, you know, saying, hey, we got something in common. Bandwagon, wanting to jump on, you know, card stacking. It's another one. Presenting only favorable information while ignoring the negative. They card stack all the time. Democrats, well-known card stackers. Republicans might even be better card stackers, but that's what it is. Mr. X, good to see you, brother. Yep, you are so right, Mr. X. Yep, the Republicans equals the Democrats. No difference. Wake up, Mr. X. Yeah. And I'm so glad Mike is waking up. I think MAGA Mike is waking up, man. If this stream that you found by accident, because when I was streaming every day, YouTube started to put it in the algorithm, helped you, MAGA Mike, I am so, so happy, bro. Yeah, the Kamala zombies are worse in some factions, and the Trump zombies are worse in the other factions. Because just, you know, when you look at both of them, right, it's both zombies. So I think you're waking up. And Kamala zombies, I mean, Kamala zombies are on another level of zombieism, because they, you know, the democratic process, you're supposed to get nominated to be the candidate. But when they saw that Biden had went into Weekend at Bernie's mode, where they were propping him up at that point, you've seen people walking him out to the podium. Doesn't look like he would have made it to the podium. They were leading him out to the podium. You know, like when they walk a chimpanzee out to something and the chimp be walking behind him and they hold him by the hand. That's how Biden was walking out there, man. And then he'd stutter a few things like that, and then they put him back in in the playpen. You know, he just, that's when they were like, look, man, we can't have this. They're going to realize that he wasn't even president for 4 years, that they were just carrying a body round that looks like him. So there's no way he can go up against Trump. I mean, that's the funniest thing, because Trump is kind of like, Trump feels kind of bullyish. That's the funniest thing. Because you look at that, it's like, yeah, this guy is definitely a great actor. He is like Academy Award winning. So card stacking, man, definitely see that. The fear warning the audience that, you know, always impending doom, that's there. So that's 8. Emotional appeals, using emotionally charged words, right, or images. So we see that. Loaded words, man, those strong connotations to influence perception. Loaded words, man, they're very powerful. You're talking about serious spells. Is Trump even doing the orders? We know Biden wasn't. And this is what I was saying. Man, you are really waking up, Mike. This is cool, man, to hear that. I'm so glad. You're seeing that the president, Trump, Biden, Obama, none of them were giving the orders. There was somebody behind the scenes. But Trump, man, he is Academy Award winner, because when you look at that, he's got people really believing he's making those orders. But he's just sitting there. He's just sitting there saying, hey, yeah, I did this, I did that. Meanwhile, we know that there's somebody behind the scene. And people, this is where we say how Mr. X is saying here, wake up, no difference. You don't, don't vote, basically, it is what people are saying. Because if you do, right, it shows the level. It's like, you really think we see right now, they're not in the person's best interest. So you're waking up, man. Yeah, you're definitely waking up. Emotional appeals, man. Using emotionally charged words. Yeah, man. That loaded words, the repetition. Ooh, the repetition is the Hitler method, right? Repeating a message frequently until it becomes ingrained. MAGA, that's right. It gets ingrained. MAGA gets ingrained when it's so psychologically orchestrated. If you look at the fact that you take red hat and put hat in front of the word red, it spells hatred. So you say, what? How did these subliminals that they play out on people? I'd say this is genius level. This is genius level. Okay, so repetition and then misuse of statistics, logical fallacies. Bingo. That's the one, because people are always bringing up those statistics, man. It's like, yeah, they couldn't lie, right? They definitely wouldn't lie. And the person giving me the statistics definitely wouldn't break a sweat doing research to see if they were actually real. But that's what it is. 12 basic propaganda, right there. And then they have propaganda we see in the media. Famous propaganda, some famous propaganda lines like, I want you, that Uncle Sam, remember that propaganda where he's pointing? Yeah, you're so right, Kalala. It's a humiliation ritual to vote. Man, that's a good way to put it. It is a humiliation ritual. Yep. People that vote that's some straight humiliation type of stuff. They're probably sitting there laughing. They're like, yeah, look at these people. They actually think that their vote matters. It's a steam valve for when people get angry. They let off steam. They protest, they vote, and then, then they talk, oh man, at least I got to vote, and then, everything subsides. The cycle repeats itself, basically. So we have, be careful what you say. We can do it. So they had a lot of those, looking through some of the propaganda techniques that, modern day propaganda, man. This is like, modern day propaganda is on another level, because now we have all this technological advancement that, we think about it as, Google, man. Google is hilarious. Sometimes I'll look stuff up and I'll just be like, man, this is, the future is going to be, man, it's going to be a trip. Kids aren't writing really as much anymore. I would say, in 10 years, how many people are really going to know how to use pen and paper? It's getting diminishing. 20 years? Why would somebody, I have papers, I'll write stuff down and stuff. I probably would still be doing that, but people are so hooked to an electronic device, they'll want to text it into their phone instead of just writing it down and saying, all right, let me just write down. Like for the book, I was putting in a thing that we are a form of technology, organic genetic tech. So when we look at the human body, it is more of a technological type of thing. When you look it's constructed, artificial. But I don't want to go into too much about that now, because this, of course, is one of the last political streams, I think. MAGA Mike says, you pay for their salaries. They control your freedom. They control the food, the houses, the water, and the only power. But what if they control the voting too. Mike, man, you are waking up, bro. I don't know. What have you been watching other stuff, or is it just this show? But you are really why. This is the question. Why would they not control the voting? Right? Do you really think they would miss that? They control the voting, man. The voting is the steam valve. That's the pressure cooker valve. When the pressure builds up, that valve kicks off. They're like, hey, do this humiliation ritual and you'll feel a little better. Especially if you're who you wanted to win wins. Oh, forget it. Now those people are, you can't tell those people that their vote didn't put that person in. That's the ego now. Ego becomes combined. You ain't even speaking to them no more. You're speaking to the ego. They control the voting too, man. That very, very, you're making some pretty good connections there, Mike. Yeah, you're definitely making some connections. So we have if anybody looks up propaganda on television, you'll see a lot of stuff, man. Media stuff, on air, how Russia weaponizes TV shows. They get some real deep stuff. And it's funny how Russia, this is the funny thing, that is from a website that's Ukrainian. It's called Ukraine World, right? It's like, yeah, the Ukrainians don't weaponize propaganda, right? They don't weaponize TV shows, just the Russians, right? Just the Russians. What we say before, they got it, us versus them. They got it loaded words, man, loaded words. So we have, that's Ukraine World with that article, right? And then politics, propaganda, and pop culture, Virginia Tech Publishing, senior capstone book project, right? That television is projecting, shaping, and amplifying Cold War ideologies is what that one is saying. I'm just switching back and forth. They own us and laugh. Yeah, man, they laugh about it, man. In my opinion, it is not something those people in political power show us over and over that they really don't care about us. I mean, and who came out, and two people came out and was talking about that, and Michael Jackson, they don't care about you. He came out just straight blatantly with it. And then George Carlin was talking about they own you. It's a big club and you ain't part of it, right? He was saying something like that. What happened to him? What happened to him? Yeah, Ukraine propaganda. Russia uses dishwasher CPR. Oh man, Kalala, this is yeah, it really makes me wonder. But when I saw that on the thing, it was popping up all over. Trump gave the State of the Union like 2 or 3 days ago. I'm like, I just could not. Once I just see the thumbnail, it just screams boredom. It's like, why would I want to listen to a liar? Think about that too. That's how zombified people get. Why? What could the president say on that podcast or that live stream, right, with the State of the Union address to make me want that? Maybe he's gonna, give me free money. If he said he's gonna give me, if he says I'm gonna give you free money, that would make me watch it. Yeah, okay. When are you gonna send us? And really, this is how slick the government is. They'll say, hey, we're gonna give you something. No, you're not. You're just giving me back what you took. That's all you're doing. Again, loaded words. These guys are masters of deceptions, man. Ukraine, man. Ukraine is just brutal with that. Just looking through the propaganda model. So, Noam Chomsky website, right? He's got a thing called the propaganda model. Now he wrote manufacturing consent. Manufacturing consent, yeah, definitely. The guy was deep. When the thing came out with the pandemic, oh, you saw the colors come out. Now I see your true colors. Yeah, they were shining through Chomsky, trying to say people need to be, why aren't they taking the magic potion? So he showed the true colors. And once they show it, don't you ever forget that, because what does a snake become when it sheds? A bigger snake. That's what it becomes. It's like, ta-da. This dream woke me up to General Patton. We fought the wrong enemy. They won the war, and our country and our all right. They won the war, and our country and are under the German control. Yeah, man. Yeah. No, I'm thank you, man. Thank you, man. And any I'm so glad that it helps people, man. Yeah. Um, all those 12 points were active for Conan. Yeah, man. Yep. Exactly, man. They man, these guys, masters of deception. Masters of deception. And yeah, Noam Chomsky talks a little, and Noam Chomsky still got some stuff. You just got to realize you can't trust him. You got to say, okay, let me see. And it forces us to think. So that's a good thing. It forces us to think, to say, okay, I know this guy's already a sack of crap, because when something hits the fan, he's going to be like, oh, well, the government, I've been saying that they manufacture your consent, but now I'm saying you should just go along with the taking the magic potion. Bang, showed his true colors, never to be trusted again. Never should have been trusted. So it wasn't like I trusted him. Oh, yeah, I'm going to follow that and do that. Nah, it's like, what, are you crazy, man? It's like you ain't never worked a hard day in your life, man. How anybody going to even look at you as something? We already know what you are. You can't do that. So facts about, let's see, how television series promote police propaganda. Journal FT. Wow. So that's actually, it explores how police dramas influence societal views, normalize institutional violence, and shape narratives around law. Exactly. Lax it. Look at the cop shows. You got it from cops. It's from harassing people on the street to go into the, to cops, then to go into the jail. And it's like a prison schedule, show schedule. I wonder about that. Yeah. It's sort of like they show the whole thing. It's like cops patrolling, bad boys, what you're going to do type of thing. Then it goes to, what is it, 48, when they were having people in there for 48 hours, one interviewing, I guess, interrogating murderers or something. Then Law and Order, you have the lawyer show. Then you have the judges show. It's like, dag. And then you got the show when they're in the pen. I said, what the heck? This is they're glamorizing, they're romancing this stuff. Nobody got nothing to say. They're like, look, they don't care. You people want to be zombie. They're like, look, man, the war was never meant to be won. Yeah, it was never meant to be won. General Smedley, way more smarter, the Marine general than Patton. He said, war is a racket. Dealership on Fig says, all I have to say is that the painter knew about the Frankists, and maybe that's why he did something about it. I don't understand what you're saying. The painter started the whole thing for some books he discovered. I don't understand what you're saying, man. Can you clarify that? All I have to say is that the painter knew about the Frankists. What was this referring to? I don't know. But okay, we'll go back to what is modern day propaganda? Let's see what they say about that. Modern day, it's sophisticated, right? Digitally driven communication, right? That uses biased or false information. Sounds like AI. Often spread through social media, news, internet, to manipulate public opinion and further a specific agenda. The fact that this is open knowledge, I'm surprised people just, they choose to be zombie. Leveraging classic techniques like name calling, bandwagon again. So they bring it right back in there. Yeah, key components, digital net centric, precise targeting, multi-platforming, blending the old and the new. That's another one too. Combines classic psychological tactics, emotional appeals, loaded language with modern tech. Wow, that's something. Yeah. So now it's blending. Now it is blending. 12 types in the U.S. Is there any propaganda in the U.S. today? Yes. At least it said yes. At least it said yes. Okay, so is it today? Let's see. Okay, yes, the US still uses propaganda, though it's evolved. Wow, I love that word, right? My favorite word. It's evolved from traditional posters to include modern forms like social media campaigns, targeted news messaging, and public diplomacy spread by both government entities like the US Agency for Global Media and non-government actors, often blurring lines with disinformation to influence domestic and international opinion. So yeah, we have that. But I just wanted to touch on a little bit with are we listening to propaganda? And just let people think about that to say, are we? Are we listening to propaganda, or is it the truth? Now, you got some people, like I said before, that will still support the agenda. They'll still say that there's nothing wrong with what's going on. But leave that up to you. Remember, the last stream was how to become smarter, and part of it is by thinking. I can lead you through the path, up the mountain, out onto a plateau where you have a broad view of the truth, but you must open your eyes. Have a great night, and we'll speak soon.